Hi guys, welcome to chapter 6 video, which is about items. We're going to focus on inventory items. So remember, there are different types of items. Items link to accounts. And in chapter 6, we're going to focus in on inventory. Now, in this video, I'm going to use the ebook. And I'm going to go through the DYS assignment as well. So you can see on the overview page, if you scroll down, if you forget, you just click this link, ebook sign in. And that will bring you to this page. You say continue reading, or you find our book if you haven't already added it, if you want to access the ebook. Now, I'm going to start in chapter 6 here. Chapter 6, tracking inventory in QuickBooks. So you can see this first section, which helps people decide if they should use QuickBooks to track inventory. There isn't a strict amount of inventory item limitation, but it does say after a few hundred, then you would be better off using QuickBooks Point of Sale or another system. And the reason is because it will start to slow down once you get up to high volume. Now, some things to understand if you have perishable items, because QuickBooks inventory items are so manual, it's not really realistic for perishable items. And if you sell a unique kind of product, then that would be something like specific identification method, if you remember from Accounting 201, because that requires you to keep track of each individual product that you're selling. So like a vehicle company that sells cars, they would need to keep track of each actual vehicle, right? They would have their own item. Obviously, they don't use QuickBooks. Or like, let's say someone who's doing custom made goods or wood products, furniture, they may do specific identification. So if you're doing specific identification, then you use an item for each inventory piece that you have. But in general, for stuff like clothing, which is what our example is about in this chapter, or any store that is just carrying common items where they'll use an item for, say, t-shirts. And but they can have multiple items for different types of t-shirts and then have them all being linked to a sales account, such as clothing sales. And while they're tracking, say, specific types of clothing and even more specifically, like different colors of clothing. So we're not keeping track of the individual items, but QuickBooks, you can see down here, and how do I value my inventory? QuickBooks will keep track of average cost method. You may remember LIFO and FIFO from Accounting 201. So what we'll be doing in this chapter is everything related to items and inventory. So that includes setting up our items, and that will then include, after that, you can put through a purchase order. So that's ordering the inventory from a supplier. You use a purchase order. And when you purchase those items, you're using an item code. So the amount that was purchased is then tracked in that item. And then when you go to sell those items, the income is being recorded, because you'll see when we set up these items, we choose income accounts and expense accounts. So as we're selling those items, we know exactly what the revenue is, sales income, and the expense. And so our reports are very accurate. Items also allow us to reorder once inventory falls below a certain point. So you'll see on Develop Your Skills 6-1, you need to open up the Chapter 6 DYS company file. I already did that. I lost my first video, so we'll run through some of this. I already did it, but I'll be able to show you. So number 4 here on DYS 6-1, you'll go into preferences. You need to turn on inventory tracking, and you do that under items and inventory right here. And remember, we have my preferences and company preferences, these 2 different tabs. So this is company preferences, and when you come in here, you'll need to check this button, inventory and purchase orders are active. Once you check that, you're turning on your items for inventory tracking. And you see down here under warn if not enough inventory to sell. So that's, say you're doing an invoice for someone and you need to change this from when the quantity I want to sell exceeds quantity available to exceeds quantity on hand, because that's the quantity we actually have. And so once you set this, you'll click OK, and then you'll need to confirm it. So you'll see here they talk about show lowest sub account preference in the textbook here. This is talking about, you can see the example for 1,000 product sales, and then the sub account is listed after 41100 clothing. If we choose show lowest sub account preference, then we just have the sub account. Now, if they're not indenting, which mine wasn't, then I think it's kind of hard to tell, but you can follow, there's instructions at the end of this section, set to show lowest sub account preferences. So I'll show you that in a moment. We'll go through 6-2. Number 1 says go to the chart of accounts. And here we can see these items right here, which you're going to add next under number 3. You go account, new, and you follow the information here. You'll choose an income account, continue. You'll enter the number. You'll enter the name, product sales, and then you'll need to select sub-account and choose, oh, this is our top account. So this one you won't. The first one you add is just product sales for 1,000, income account, save and new. Then number 6 and number 8, you'll see we're going to create an account for clothing and it's going to be 41100, the name clothing. And then this is going to be a sub account of product sales. You can see I already added it in this list, so I'm not going to finish it through. That's what it'll look like after you add all 3 of these. You need to enter your description and then save and new and add the second one, which is for accessories, and the third one, which is for home decor. Then under 9, save and close, and number 10, close out of the chart of accounts. No, I don't want to save that. And then you'll have them looking like this. Now, the last section, number 11, to change this so that we don't have it listed as the main account and then the sub account, you go edit, preferences, and from here up to accounting, company preferences. We have nothing under my preferences. And this is where you can select show lowest sub account only and then OK. And so what this does is now we can't see the sub accounts. So if we go to our income account here, now we have product sales, clothing, which is a sub account of product sales, accessories, which is a sub account of product sales, and home decor, which is a sub account. So if we go edit to edit this account, we'll see that we still have the sub account there. Now, they used to be indented. Since they're not indented, I don't like the way that looks. And so I'm putting it back to uncheck that so that it's clear what accounts are a sub-account. But that way you know what that is. So now we'll head back to the book. And we can see down here that when we set up an item, we have multiple accounts happening. So on the left, you can see the purchase information. We can just use a standard cost of goods sold account. Now you could separate those out for different categories of products, but in our example, we'll just use a standard cost of goods sold account. So all products are sitting in that cost of goods sold account because again, we're not tracking the exact purchase price, but this item is doing the work of recording the cost of $15 when it is sold. You can see on the right, we have the sales price in the income account. Now, the other side of the cost of goods at the bottom is the inventory account. So we just use one general inventory asset account. Now we'll head back in here and add the items. So they say, click on items and services from the home page under company. So you see company in the top right, items and services. This is number 1 of DYS 6-3. And next, what you're going to do is click the item, add, item new, sorry. And now you're going to add these items. So the first step is choosing the type, inventory part. So I don't use the mouse at all, only the tab key so that you don't miss anything. Once you choose inventory part, you see this looks just like it did in the book. So you add the item t-shirt and then you add the description here. And the description on the other side, the cost, which is 15. We have our standard cost of goods sold account, but under preferred vendor, it says extreme designs. You'll be adding it for the first time. So you'll select quick add when the pop-up comes up. Then the sale price is 30. And our income account is that sub account specifically for clothing. Doesn't like my spelling. I will not save this. I'm going to cancel, but you'll save that one. And then they're going, and you add the reorder number. Sorry, I skipped that under t-shirt. So I'll edit to show you. The reorder point is down here next to that inventory account. I already added these, so that's why you can see them here. T-shirt. Now, to enter the next 4 that they tell you to enter here throughout DYS 6-3, they first have us go in to add multiple items. So we can see it's number 5. And when you click the item arrow, you can see add, edit multiple items here, right here. So we click that and you're going to be able to add a bunch at a time, just like I have it set up here. But the first thing you need to do is make sure inventory parts is chosen here. And then in the top right, there's this customize columns window. And what you need to do at number 9 is you'll select sales description. So my sales description is here. So you select sales description and click add. Then it's still selected. We'll click the move up button to move it up in between in between item name and sub item of. You can see that visual at number 8. And from there, we'll say, okay. Now, then next you'll need to start typing in all of these items at number 11, 12, and down. You'll add 4 items. And you can see, you can close out of the tip. I already did that. Now, did they tell us to use a sub item? They did not tell us to do any sub items. So we just enter the items like this. The next thing, once you're done, you'll click Save Changes. I'm just going to close. But what you'll notice is all of the items you just add do not have the description right here. And what you have to do is double click each one. And I rewrote the description under Sales Information because we only have one description for the purchase information, and the sales information is what shows on this listing. So you just go into each one and type it over here like this. And made knit scarf. And then click OK, and then you'll see your descriptions listed just like mine have shown. Okay, the next section is dealing with sales tax. So sales tax is really common when we're dealing with inventory because inventory is often sales tax applies to product sales. So we can see here they go through default tax rates, multi-tax rates. You can have tax rates for multiple states, and we can also set tax rates for different customers based on what states they're in. So sales tax can be a very cumbersome area, but we set up sales tax groups. So you see DYS 6-4 tells us to go into our preferences again, edit preferences. And from here, they tell us to go to sales tax. Oh, I didn't change anything in payments, so wisely no. Sales tax category number 2. Now we'll go to number 3, which says follow these steps to set up the sales tax preference and to set up your default sales tax item. So I'm going to click company preference, and we need to click this yes. And then you can see we need to click add sales tax item. So we click add, and again, this is also an item. And next, we will select sales tax item, which is already selected. I'll just press tab. And sales tax name is going to be San Tomas. The description is going to be San Tomas County sales tax. And our rate is 9.2%. Our tax agency is the State Board of Equalization. And we don't have that. So when we press tab, we're going to say quick add and then click OK. Now we're going to click the down arrow here and select the only one we have as our most common sales tax. But we can add many sales tax items here and then be able to apply them on the appropriate purchase order or invoice. So now to number 6, we're going to say OK and then OK again. And this pop-up window says, notice 2 sales tax codes are automatically created. They're not talking about this. This says, make all existing customers taxable, make all existing non-inventory and inventory parts taxable. So we're going to say no. Let's see, did I skip something? To San Tomas. We're gonna uncheck these. I think ours looks different than the book, but I think what they're saying is we're not going to update everyone because we're often going to use the non-taxable option. Okay, QuickBooks has to close all windows. Now, QuickBooks will close and reopen the file. Now, we weren't asked to make this new sales tax code. Sometimes when I'm talking for a video, I miss things. Let's see here. Assign sales tax code. So down here was where we're adding a code. They didn't mention that pop-up we got. So we're going to follow the instructions at number 6. So our code is 00S or OOS. And then the description is out of state, which will be non-taxable. And we'll say, okay, this sales tax code is the wrong type for this field. Okay. So maybe add new. It didn't like my code. They're saying you can create additional codes such as OOS, standing for out of state. So I thought I did that. Let's try it one more time. Okay. This code is already in use. Okay. So maybe it did save. No. Here it is. It's under our non-taxable item code. They didn't really explain that section well, but we'll select it here. So now we're set up like they were instructing. Okay. So now they say at the bottom, note, you can still edit whether a customer is taxable or non-taxable in the sales tax settings tab of the edit customer window. So for each customer, we can say if they're taxable or non-taxable. You can assign or edit an item's tax code in the edit item window. You must know your state sales tax requirements, obviously, like the one we just entered, 9.2%. Okay, so next we're on to creating purchase order, creating purchase orders to order our inventory. And so let's see. When you create your first purchase order, PO, purchase orders are abbreviated PO, QuickBooks creates a non-posting an account that does not affect your P&L or your balance sheet report, called purchase orders, because until it's filled, we don't actually have the inventory, right? The purchase order is just when we're ordering it. So this is kind of like what QuickBooks does when you record receiving cash and checks. It goes into undeposited funds. It's an account that handles the interim between when you got the money and when the money's actually deposited. So 6-5 will go choose company and home page, or you can go this way, home page. Number 2, 6-5, click purchase orders. So see our purchase orders in the top left under vendors. And now it says enter this information to create a purchase order. So our vendor is going to be the one we already quick added. Our date is going to be 11/07/23. We already have a purchase order template up because we started a purchase order template. Our item is going to be the t-shirt. There it is. Our description comes up, and so now we need to enter the quantity, 25. We're going to, the rate is automatic. That was what we set as the cost. And if we were doing this order for a specific customer, we would put the customer in here so that it was allocated, but we're not. We're just ordering our inventory. So this is a total amount. We'll get to the memo down here and do extreme. We'll follow their format. Companies always use a specific format that gives them the information that they want to be able to see. And then we do the date. So we did the company, what was ordered, the items ordered, and the date, 2023. And now we click Save and New. So it doesn't like my spelling. We'll go Ignore. Now we're on number 5, create a second purchase order. Julie's Treasures, which I thought we quick added before, but maybe it didn't go through because that was for our scarves. Our date is 11/07/2023. This is our second purchase order. The item is scarf. Our quantity is 30. Our rate automatically pulls in. No customer in this case. We're just ordering. And we go down to our memo, and it's the same format as our last memo. Company name, what was ordered, and the date. And now we'll go save and close. So now to view the open purchase order reports, click the chart of accounts. We're going to find that account because we put the purchase order through. So we're going to see the account that was created. So scroll to the bottom and notice the non-posting account 90100, and you can see it says non-posting, so it's not an expense item. This is a clearing account, a holding account. Now it says double click on purchase orders, number 9, and we need to change the date to A for all, and now we can see the purchase orders that are hitting this account. Now we'll go window, close all to close everything out. So now we're going to go through the process of receiving items. Let's see, we probably need to go to the next section. Yep, receiving items. And what they're going to show us now is this is part of our map from the home page. So we're going to receive inventory. When you receive inventory, you choose the little drop-down arrow next to receive inventory. And you can select to receive inventory with a bill or without a bill. If you receive the inventory items without the bill, then when the bill arrives, click Enter Bill and enter bills against inventory on the map. So you can see all of that here. So these are the options they're talking about right here. Receive inventory with bill or receive inventory without bill. If you do without, then you select the next one, enter bill against inventory. You can also add expenses. So we have 2 tabs on a bill, one for items and one for expenses, which you can see here. That's on each bill. We have both of those options. Now we can do a lot of times, and you may remember from accounting, 1%, 10, net 30, which means you get a 1% discount if you pay within 10 days. Otherwise, the net is due within 30. And so we reduce what our inventory is recorded at when we take advantage of paying a purchase order early, right? Because our inventory account should be based on what we paid. So over at 6-6, DYS 6-6, number 1, go to the home page. Number 2, click Receive Inventory without a bill. So we'll select without a bill. So this is obviously something we're doing later, right? Once the inventory arrives, we put in the purchase order, and then it should be a little bit later, we're going to receive the inventory. So it says type EX, and up comes our extreme. So we'll press tab, and we get this pop-up. QuickBooks fills in the Extreme's designs and opens the PO's existing window. So it says open purchase orders exist for this vendor. Do you want to receive against one or more of the purchase orders? So remember, our purchase order isn't the bill. We haven't gotten the bill yet, but we got the inventory shipped. And if you think about it in terms of like a grocery store, like they're constantly getting reorders, and they don't necessarily pay when the inventory person brings in the inventory. So it's that type of thing where the payment isn't necessarily happening as the products exchange hands. So number 4 says to select yes. And what will happen is it will let us choose. So we check the relevant order. We only had one purchase order from this vendor, and it pulls in the information. Notice that the items appear on the items tabs, not the expense tabs. The expense tab here, items here. So an expense could come up usually when we get a bill that we didn't predict. And that's something we could add under the expense tab. Now it says tap plus sign on the keyboard to change the date. So basically they delivered the products to us the next day. And that's all the information they tell us to enter and save and close, because it automatically pulled in all the information. So we got the items delivered the next day in that case. Now we're going to enter a bill against inventory. So let's say then we get the bill maybe a few days later or just later that day. It looks like Extreme Designs. We select them and click anywhere in the line to select the item receipt dated 11/08. So we'll select here. And there's a box to check, use item receipt date for the bill. So in this case, it seems like that would be okay. But when we click OK, it's going to automatically move that information over to the bill for us. Because most likely the bill is for what the purchase order was for, but there could be something else. So all we're going to do here is add to the memo Extreme. No, this is number 10, shirt and LS 11/2023. Now, often a customer will have standard terms, but we are not applying that yet. So now we just say save and close. Yes, we want to record the transaction. I'm going to cancel because I don't think, did I do the date? I did do the date because it was automatic. Save and close. Yes, we want to record the transaction. That's number 11. And now they show us behind the scenes, we now have inventory and we've recorded accounts payable because we owe that money. Without the bill, we don't have accounts payable yet. Okay, receive items with a bill, and we'll have an expense added because our bill is going to include a shipping fee of $25 for those scarves we ordered. So number 12 we'll go receive inventory with bill, type J, and up comes Julie's treasures. Oh, look at that. I spelled Julie different. So that's something we know how to fix, right? Let's see. Well, the first one is the right one. Sometimes in a situation like that, if you didn't get the pop-up, maybe you entered it under a misspelled vendor. Okay. Number 14, click yes in the open PO window. And now number 15, we'll click to select it on the left, the check marks, and okay. Click OK to move to the enter bill window. Click OK on the warning. The Julie's Treasures order was short 5 pieces. So we need to record receipt of only 25 items instead of the 30 we ordered. So we change it to 25. It's just pulling in what we ordered, but we need to make it correct. So to complete the bill, we need to go back up and change the date to the 11th. So we got the bill a few days later. Our reference is Julie's, comma, the month and year. Amount due, our amount due does not match yet, but we can change the total amount to $275. That's automatic, the bill due. Terms. So we need to select 1% off if we pay within 10 days, net due in 30. Now the discount date populates so we can get a 1% discount. And in the memo, we're going to do Julie's inventory scarves, month and year, tab down. We change the quantity, and then over at number 18, we're going, now that we're done with the items, we're going to click expenses. And here, because we changed the total amount to $275, once we click expenses, it automatically updated the amount for us here. Now, number 18, we need to add shipping expenses. Shipping expense. So type it all out, and then we're going to tab, and we're going to say set up. There's no quick add. We have to select the other information. We choose expense, continue. Now we'll enter the number 67500, shipping expense, and that's it. Save and close. We're back down here. They don't tell us to put anything in the memo, and we go save and close to enter the bill. You've changed the terms. This change will reflect in our transaction. Do we want to make it permanent to reflect in all past and future transactions? We'll go ahead and say sure. Now, you wouldn't want to do that. It's better to if you don't want it to change past transactions, and instead you can update the vendor by going into the vendor center, editing the vendor, going under those options. You could select payment terms for that customer, and then going forward, it will always show up automatically. So now we're on to selling inventory. Let's see, selling inventory items, which is that right side of the items that we set up. Now we can sell inventory for cash, or we can sell inventory on account, right? If we are selling on account, we're using an invoice. If we are collecting cash or payment credit card on the spot, we are entering a sales receipt and there's no accounts receivable. So when we sell an item, you might recall we have, which you can see down here, we have design income being recorded and however they paid. And at the same time, cost of goods sold is being recorded and the asset is being taken off our books. You may remember those entries, cash, sales revenue, cost of goods sold, inventory, debit. So to say it again, it would be debit, how they paid, cash, credit, sales revenue, and then debit, cost of goods sold, which you can see here, credit, the inventory. All right, so on to, they talk about batching, batch invoice summary. After you've created a batch of invoices for customers, you will see the batch invoice summary window, which they show a picture of down here. Here you can choose to either print or email invoices based on preferred send method for each customer. Send a batch of forms. You can send more than just invoices from QuickBooks in the preference window, that same window we've been using to turn on items and set sales tax rates. You can set the default message for 12 types of forms and reports. And you can see that list there of all the different types of forms and reports they have. Now we're on to DYS 6-7. They want us to, number 1, go to the customers section, and number 2, number 1, select the customer's icon. So we'll go to customers. I think we can, yeah. Number 2, single click Lightfoot Dance Company. So we can't really see here. We need to go down. Let's see. Let's search Lightfoot. Oh, we're adding a new, gosh, they have a weird way of explaining that. Click the customer's icon button in the icon bar. Single click Lightfoot Dance Company on the customers and jobs list. So they're saying that they should be here. Oh, here they are. And you can see, if we open this up, you just select the little in-between section to adjust it. So you can see Lightfoot Dance Company is a customer. They have 2 jobs, Lightfoot Dance Company Flash Ballroom, Lightfoot Dance Company Dance Explosion Tickets. And now we're going to add a new job. We're going to select the customer so that when we click Add Job, it automatically adds it under this customer. So we should be able to click Add Job from over here, or we can do it just from here, Add Job. Now number 4, it says type marketing. So that's the name of the job for marketing. And then click OK. So now we added, you can see now there's one more job there. You can also do that directly in the invoice where it will show as we go into an invoice here. Create an invoice with a discount payment terms. Click the new transactions button on the toolbar and then click invoice. So now we have the customer job selected. So if we go new transactions up at the top and select invoice, it will create it under that customer and job. And you can also create it right here where my cursor is blinking just by typing in a customer's name that exists, a colon without a space, and then type the name of the job and it will add instantly here. But so usually it's nice to look at the list so that you can remember what's already been added or what hasn't been added, what have you. Okay, Complete the invoice for Lightfoot Dance Company with this information. We're on number 6, template, Intuit product. So we'll tab and select Intuit product invoice. We'll tab to date 11/11 or 11/16/2023. Tab. We'll go to ship to and select ship to 1, which is the same info. We'll tab to terms and select 2% if paid in 10 days, net due in 30. And then via, how is it going to be shipped? Is going to be US mail. Now we're on to the next page. So the first item, we start with quantity 12, item code, graphic design. QuickBooks automatically assigns sales tax code for the customer to this line unless you change it. To assign a different sales tax code, click the drop down in the tax column and select a new code. Did they tell us about this pop-up? They didn't. We'll just click OK. Graphic design price each is $45. So that wasn't set for this item code. So we set it here. Okay. And it's telling us that we could set all that in the other section, which we know. Now, click OK if price levels appear. They didn't. Our next second item, quantity 5, t-shirt. These are our t-shirts. This is the sale price coming in automatically. Calculating the total amount. We'll leave it as the OOS, out of state, no sales tax, since it doesn't tell us to do anything differently. Under the customer message, we'll type, it's been a pleasure working with you, and it'll fill in. You just click add. Tab to tab through it. Here we have our San Tomas coming up, but it doesn't calculate anything because both items were no tax. If we had a third item that did have tax, then this amount would be calculating on that specific item. Number 7, on the ribbon, click the checkbox for email later. So you see up here where it says print later on the top, we'll select email later and ensure that print later is not selected. So we unselect print later by clicking it. Now down to number 8, we'll click save and close. An information missing or invalid window will launch. And then number 9, we can type in the email, hbiaz@email.com. Okay. You've changed. Do we want that to reflect and to make it permanent? We'll say no. Or did they tell us what to do? Click yes. So click yes to that. I clicked no. You should click yes. And so I'm going to go back in. We're going into the job instead of the invoice. So set up customers for batching. Guy is now offering a monthly fee for website maintenance. So you will create a batch of invoices for the first 2 customers who subscribe to the monthly maintenance fee. These customers pay a flat fee each month. So first you need to ensure that they're set up correctly. So Tim's BB. Let's see. Now we got to find Tim. I don't know why that search isn't working right. Here's Tim's barbecue. I just saw it at the top. Here we go. So we'll double click Tim to open it. You can also click the pencil over on the right because all of Tim's information is there. And now enter or verify that the information is in the appropriate tabs to ensure Tim's account is set up properly for batch invoicing. So main email right here, we need to enter Tim BBQ at Tim BBQ at email.com. Payment term. So we need to go payment settings, payment terms are net and 30. So that was already selected. Now preferred delivery method, email, tax code. So for that, we need to go to sales tax settings. We'll select San Thomas. I'm in the wrong one. Tax item, San Thomas. And click OK, number 14. Now number 15, go to Masters Manufacturing. So that should be down at M. Masters Manufacturing. We'll edit it by double clicking. Number 16, main email. We're going to go mastersm@email.com. Preferred delivery method, email is selected. Taxes, tax code, we want tax. Tax item, San Thomas. Ooh, and let's make sure that saved since I closed it on accident. It looks like it did. Yep. Okay. And number 18, close the customer center. So now we're going to create a new billing group under customers, create batch invoices, and the batch invoice window will appear. Is your customer info set up correctly? Yes, that's what we just did. Now, number 20, we're in the batch invoice window, and we're going to click the billing group drop down menu. Let's see, billing group here on the right, and we're going to click add new. So we're creating the group right now. We're going to call it monthly website maintenance and click save. Now, number 23, we're going to first select Masters Manufacturing, the customer, not the job. So we select the first one here, and then we click add. Now, Tim's Barbecue Palooza, the customer, and add, or you can double click it like I did the first time. And so now both customers are highlighted. So it's clear they're in the same group, and we're going to go save group. Oh, maybe, do they both need to be highlighted? There we go. Save group. I think it's saved. I don't think they both need to be highlighted over there. And now we'll go next. And now we're creating our batch of invoices. So enter this information to add a new item to set it for the batch invoice. So our date is 11/16/2023. So I'm going to tab Intuit service invoice. It's always on the last type of invoice we used. Item web. We kind of went through different things. We're going to say, yes, we want to add it now. It's going to be a service. And the description is website design work Our tax code is non. Our account is 43,200. And click OK. If necessary, choose add to website to the spelling dictionary. Okay. And so that's what it's saying, website. So it doesn't like the word website. So we're going to say we should have an option to click add to append website dictionary, this add button. So it won't do that next time. So now the batch invoice amount should be 125. And our customer message, so you can see we're like creating one invoice with the item listed here. Thank you for your business. Cancel. Tab. Okay, now that's in there. Now the one thing we don't have is, do you see what we're missing? We're missing quantity. They did not tell us to add a quantity. Let's see, number 26. Review the list of invoices that at the end of number 25, it says click next. Even though we don't have a quantity, we're going to click next. Number 26, review the list of invoices that you're preparing. So they're both selected already. And then we'll click create invoices. And then they show that we've recorded the income and our accounts receivable is recorded at the same time because they haven't paid yet. Your invoices are created. They are marked for print or email based on each customer's preferred method. So we can see both of them are marked for email. So click close. That's the only thing we have left to do. And now choose to send the form. So we're going to go File, Send Forms. Right here, right below Print Setup. Send Forms window pops up. And this is when we would click Send Now. And they attach each one as a PDF. The from email is in there, and yep. And that's what you would take a screenshot of if you're ever trying to submit the batch invoices like this, or like submit them for an assignment. I think we do that in the project. Okay, so the last section here is receiving discounts and electronic payments. So we're going to go under the customers area, receive payments. Receive from, we're going to put in Lightfoot Dance Company for the marketing job. Now we're receiving the payment for one of those invoices. The payment amount is $689.72. And the date is 11/18/2023. The reference number is 2Q78X901. And the payment is e-check. So we select that. Notice the underpayment section of the bottom left portion. Whenever you enter a payment that is less than the amount due, we'll see this section. So if you see in the bottom left, they're showing it as $14.08. For us, it's showing up as 28 cents, which is interesting. So leave this, you see the different check boxes here, write off the extra amount or leave it as an underpayment amount. And that means it would just roll forward on that account if it was left that way. On the ribbon, we're going to choose discounts and credits. See up at the top on the right here, discounts and credits. In the discount account field, we'll type less discounts given, set up. We're at number 6. We'll enter 49000 account to track discounts. And number 7, save and close. Number 8, done. And number 9, we're going to save and close to record the payment. A credit for the overpayment will remain on the customer's account. That's what I was saying. You can do a credit memo, but a credit memo is automatically reported. When you're dealing with inventory, small amounts like that will just be handled as you reorder and re-accept payments and all that. So deposit an electronic check. Now you can see under the record deposits, there's one. So we need to go in to record deposits, select the e-check number 11 and click OK. Number 12, ensure the deposit is going into our checking account. So we can see that first thing at the top, checking account. Number 13, enter the date. So next day, November 19th, we have deposit. And number 14, save and close to record it. Now that is gone. It's been deposited. Okay, so the last section here is going through entering a credit from a vendor. We'll finish it off together. So DYS 6-9, we're going to go into the customers and customer center, or we can just get there by clicking here. We're going to go to JLR Doggy Playhouse. Number 2, JLR Doggy Playhouse. And we're going to select, you can see his information on the right. We're going to select the invoice number 113 by double clicking. And now number 4, to give a refund, we're going to click refund credit up in the top under create batch. We'll click refund credit. And to create the credit memo, we will tab to the date and do 12/30/23. Tab credit number. We're going to add CR. Oops. Open Windows. Bring me back to my credit window. CR space and then the same number. And then tax is going to be the San Tomas down here. Not that it matters since the item is non-taxable. Flip the page, you're on number 6. To create the credit memo, enter this information. Leave the credit memo refunds window open. You will issue the refund from it in the next step. So basically, they didn't tell us to save and close, but we need to save and close. We'll say retain as available credit because then we're going... Click the use credit to apply. Oh, okay. Never mind. So they, you don't have to close out like I just did. You could just stay in the credit. So we can get back to the credit by clicking the back and forth here. It was 1203, so we should find it 1203. Invoice. Let's see. So it should be here. See how we're back to the customer? We can go back into the credit. I forget what that first option was, so I don't know if I already applied it to something, but you can see at number 6, they say use credit to apply to invoice up at the top, use credit to give refund, or use credit, oh no, I clicked the wrong one, use credit to apply to invoice. Click OK and the warning sign, and then save and close to record the memo. Okay, that's what I already did. And then save and new. So now we're going to create the memo for the doggy people. So we're going to go create invoices, save and new. And we're going to, number 9, choose JLR, Doggy Playhouse. And instead of stopping here, we're going to enter the colon, add a new job in one step. So you just press space once, new business kickoff campaign. So they're having us add the job all at once, although they're not explaining it very well. So we'll go quick add. They don't tell us to change the template. We'll do 12/30/2023. That's there. Invoice number 10028. Item. Branding. Quantity 1. And now we'll go thank you. And now that our invoice is up, number 10, we're going to click apply credits. See here up at the top, QuickBooks has detected that there are no credits or payments to apply to this invoice, and there are no previously applied credits to edit. So if you didn't make that mistake that I made, you will have the credit there. And then you'll be able to select it, and it will be applied to this invoice. Now, I kind of want to show you how to fix this because it's good to know how to do. The last step is just going over the inventory valuation summary. So you'll get to see what's on hand based on the stuff we just recorded. I will skip that and I'll show you how I would go about fixing this. So I'd go back in. We basically need to figure out, okay, where did that, oh, it's because I added a new one, I think. I would say that's probably what happened. So let's see. Here's our credit memo. Let's open it back up. Now on the right, if this isn't out, it looks like this. We can try and figure out what I applied it to. It looks like this was the payment that we then gave the credit for. But then something after 12/30, we had an invoice for. So let's see. Okay. So Yes, it looks like this was applied. Regardless, I don't want to lose this video because I've already lost the video twice with it getting too long. Figuring out mistakes like that is where it's really great to click around and just go through everything. It's different when we don't get to enter everything, so we have to look through what's in here, but that's really where you can get more familiar with everything and just keep clicking around. And I would just keep wanting to figure out what I applied that credit memo to. Basically, mine got applied. When I'm talking, sometimes it's a little more difficult for me to follow. Open balance -80. Okay, that makes me think that it wasn't applied to anything. So I think what happened is I just got the two customers. So I spelled kickoff wrong in one. In this one, let's go. Maybe I was under the other one. Use credit memo. Here it is. So I just need to delete that extra customer. I tried to add the credit memo. I tried to give the credit to the other customer who didn't have any activity. So this is where you just click OK. You make sure everything's correct and click OK. That's to give it as a refund to. This is where the customer has no open invoices because I added the invoice under the other customer and I just need to switch it around. All right, guys, that is all. You're almost finished. You just have the populating the report and then the tackle the task, which just let you go through the whole process one more time. You create an inventory items, you create one PO, you receive the item, you sell the item, you receive payment, and you run the report. So I think it's really good practice to run through it again faster and to get that process on your cheat sheet. Okay, see you next time. Let me know if you have questions. If you ever get a situation where you get confused, if you can just meet with me and share your screen, I can help you click around and see how to figure that stuff out as well. We have our projects coming up, so that's when you'll really want to do that and plan to meet with me when you get stuck. It doesn't usually take that long, just a few minutes, and I'm able to help you. All right, bye guys.